I want you to see these two trash people right here in this picture. On the left is Kiana Pope, and on the right is her boyfriend, Kenyatta Gardner. At first, I was like, are these the same people? Because their names sound eerily similar. And these two right here are responsible for a toddler being burned so badly that the little boy that they burned, cannot walk or currently talk at the moment. Look at them. And look at the mother. The womb carrier, I should say. This bitch looked like she just came straight out of a goddamn typhoon. And look at how she looks in her mugshot. This bitch is batshit crazy. And whoever this dude is, ain't no better. But let me go ahead and get into this. It was posted on ABC 12, August 31st, 2021, coming out of Michigan. Earlier this year, Martin Gowder was supposed to get his kids for the weekend as laid out in a custody agreement. The Flint man said his ex-girlfriend asked to keep them for a few more days. Gowder said she told him their son had a rash and she wanted it to heal. Oh, a rash? That's a far cry from a burn. Just a day later, the Genesee County prosecutor said she took 2.5-year-old Ben to the hospital because he wasn't breathing. Gowder was called to the emergency room as 27-year-old Kiana Pope and her boyfriend Kenyatta Gardner were arrested and charged with torture and first-degree child abuse. That rash, doctors determined, was actually third-degree burns all over the boy's body. I've been holding this stuff in for so long, so I just feel like if talking about it, getting people to hear my story, maybe that helps them, Gowder said. Ben's dad is speaking out for the first time about his son's recovery ahead of Pope and Gardner's next court hearing on Wednesday. Gowder said his son's life will never be the same. By the way, I'm recording this on September 1st, so by the time this video gets uploaded, they would have already been to court. I want them to feel that, he said. I want them to know that, like, especially Kiana. I want her to understand the gravity of the situation and the consequences behind it more than anything. Gowder still has trouble understanding how someone, let alone his son's mother, could allegedly place the toddler in burning water. Investigators believe it was punishment for a potty training accident. I don't know what it is with these so-called new parents, but how in the hell are they punishing their kids for something that their children are going to do because they're kids? Because of a potty training incident? The child is potty training, you dumbass. Of course they're going to have accidents because they're trying to get used to using the pot. Because they're always used to going in their diaper. And you know what it is? A lot of these so-called parents are impatient as hell. They are impatient. They be wanting to have kids so bad, but then when they realize it actually takes work to raising a child, that they realize they have more on their plate. I'm like this. If you're not ready to have kids, don't have them. If you're not in the mental state to have a child, do not have one. It's kind of hard to accept things as the way they are now, knowing how they used to be, and that it might never get there again, Gowder said. But I'm really trying to stay positive about it. In other words, he wants to beat the brakes off of these two knuckleheads. And you know what? If he wanted to, I wouldn't be the one to stand in his way. As a matter of fact, if I was there and I happened to quote unquote witness it, I didn't see a damn thing. Gowder said his son is stable, but bedbound with a feeding tube, colonostomy bag, and a catheter. He isn't walking or talking. Ben's receiving treatment in Indiana, where he's undergone numerous skin grafts. Gowder hasn't had a chance to visit his son yet because he's working to pay the bills and now take care of Ben's older sister full time too. It's been tough and I've been trying hard, he said. I'm trying to keep my head above water. Gowder said he's speaking up so others can learn from his situation. He never wanted to be the stereotypical distant father, so he made sure to get joint custody. He just wishes he asked their mom more about the time she spent with them. At least he's acknowledging his faults. He's acknowledging his fault, especially that last line. That's a very interesting line. He said he wishes that he asked their mom about more about the time she spent with them. Basically, what were you doing with my children when they weren't with me? What were they doing with you? Because I'm willing to bet there was more abuse going on in that household than just this. This one was just taking it overboard. That kid, that boy could die. He could have died. And mind you, this happened earlier in the year. Because the picture that you're seeing, this is from February. It's now September. And now the dad is finally speaking out. And they said that the boy still can't walk or talk. She had made me feel like I was just tripping and I was just like being a bitter person. You know what I'm saying? Gowder said, my spirit was telling me like, no, this is not a good situation. Way before anything happened, way before my son got hurt, way before anything. That's what I said. I believe there was abuse going on way before this. When it comes to your kids, he said, you have to pay attention. And if something doesn't seem right, it probably isn't. As of right now, Ben's dad said there's no date on when the toddler is expected to be released from the hospital. He turns 3 years old in November. That's crazy. So he's been in the hospital since February. And his condition hasn't really changed much since then. She did this, they did this to a 2-year-old. Threw him in hot boiling water like he was a goddamn gremlin. Because of a potty training accident. Let that sink in. There's not enough things that a child can do in this world at that age that could make you do something that extreme to torture them. I've told y'all on this channel before, and I'm going to say it right here. I hate having to do stories like this. I hate it. I hate hearing stories about children being tortured, let alone being tortured by a person that's supposed to be the parent. I put more blame on her than on the guy she was laid up with, because the guy she was laid up with didn't really have any kind of responsibility to that child because that wasn't his child. He didn't impregnate her. That was her responsibility. The father sent the children to her because it was her time to have the kids. And what did she do? What does she do? What do they do? But more importantly, what does she do? She's not a parent. She's not being a mother. And you can look at her mugshot and tell she's not all the way there. I hope the worst falls upon both of these individuals. I see that they got first degree charges, so they get found guilty. They go into jail for a long ass time, and rightfully so. It seems to me that the other child that he has with this chick is in the right place, and that's with the birth father, the biological dad. And they love to tell us that the mother is the one who's always the rightful parent when it comes to children. That's why these family courts, they need to revamp that. Because they'll throw kids right into a bad situation just because that person is a mother and she's a woman and she has a vagina and they feel all the maternal. Fuck all of that. They be some of the worst ones, and that's why they continue to get away with it. But yeah, I'm on the side of the dad saying that there was way more going on in this house than what happened before this. It's just that this was and I hate to use this as a pun, the boiling point. I hate to use it as a pun considering how the little boy ended up in the hospital in the first place. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments.